negative 8. Okay. What would be the most specific classification that we could place negative 8 into? Negative 8 is a integer. So if we place it at integer, that means it also has to be everything that it enclosed integer, which was, it's also rational, it's also real. So negative 8 is going to fit into those three. Okay, let's go to the next term. Negative square root of 8. Okay, does the square root of 8 simplify into an integer value? No. So it remains what type of a number? Irrational. So negative square root of 8 falls in the irrational. Irrational is still one of the subsets of real numbers, so we also need to include it up here. And so even though root 8, negative root 8 can be simplified, when you place it here, leave it in the form that was given. And you're simply using its value to categorize it. All right, so let's take a look at the next number. All right, so this symbolic representation is new to some of you. We'll again cover it a little bit later in the next chapter or two. But it's a cube root. The cube root, basically this little 3 here, represents a value, or you're looking for a number that you can multiply by itself this many times to get the number inside. So is there a number you can multiply by itself 3 times to give you 27? So if you were to just test it, 1 times 1 times 1 is 1. 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. 3 times 3 times 3 is 27. So the cube root of 27 is actually 3. So the value for this is a negative 3. So what's the most specific category you can fit that into? Again, integer, just like with negative 8. So when you write it out, though, we're going to write the cube root of 27, negative cube root of 27. And again, it's also a real number, so negative cube root of 27 fits there as well. All right, if we move on to 27. Okay. What's the most specific category for 27? It is a natural number, therefore it's also whole, an integer, a rational number, and a real number. Okay. If we move on to 0.8. 0.8 is a terminating decimal, so its most specific category would be a rational form, so 0.8, which means it's also going to be a real number. Okay, square root of negative 8. So here you have a negative sign inside of a square root. Is there some number that can be multiplied by itself to give you a negative? No. So this one is going to fall in this category of none. It would be considered a complex number or an imaginary number, but in the real number system does not exist. Okay, what about 0 over 27? What is that value going to be? Zero over 27 has a value of 0. So when you look at it, what's the most specific category for the value 0? Is 0 a natural number? No. The most specific you can get is whole number, which means it's also integer, also rational, also real. Okay, what about pi? Pi is irrational. Because it's irrational, it's also going to be considered a real number. And then finally, negative 8 over 0. You have division by 0, which is undefined. And so when you're looking to place this, it doesn't even exist in the real number system. So negative 8 over 0 would be in the undefineds as well. And so that's where the location of these numbers would be found. All right. Questions about that?